So good morning and welcome back. My name is Shayna Weston. If you're now joining us, welcome to this Monday morning on the Now Morning Show. For this segment, I'm going to take you into a very touchy and taboo subject in Trinidad and Tobago and across the world, and it's domestic violence. And if you didn't know, in 2020 alone, we had 21 women who were killed in domestic violence situations. So some of us need a reality check, and I hope that this documentary is going to be it for you. So I welcomed Kamika McCletchy, who's joining us on Zoom alongside Juliet McCauley, who's going to give us some more information this morning. Welcome, ladies.
Hi,
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Well, thank you for joining us as well. Kamika, so this story, Kamika, let me make sure I get it correct, because my name is strange, but I have problems with names as well. So it's Kamika.
It's Kamika.
I tested the others. Tell me something. You have now been, and I want to say titled as a domestic violence victim and survivor, and you put yourself in the public light. How does this documentary and those titles in public make you feel?
Can you just repeat the end of the question?
The end. So you've publicly been titled as a victim and a survivor of domestic violence, and with the broadcasting of this documentary, how does that make you feel?
Oh, that's a very powerful and life-changing experience, because I get to tell my story not just for myself, but I get to tell my story for those who don't have a voice. And those persons out there, I get to let them know that there is a second chance at life. There is life after domestic violence. And you can't come out of it. It's not the end of the road for you. So I see myself as being an advocate, one that lends a voice to those that don't have a voice.
And that's interesting. In looking at the documentary, the trailer as well, and the name of it is Breaking the Cycle. At the beginning, you would have said, you made a statement that really stuck, and it spoke very loudly, where you said that for the last few years, or the last number of years you could have recalled, you didn't feel loved. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, and how did that shape the relationships that you entered into?
So that feeling of being unlovable came from all the way back in my childhood, because my dad was an absent father, and I searched for that father figure, that sense of security, that person would show me that type of love. And at the age of 14, I was raped. Then I was raped again by someone I trusted to tell about the rape. And then searching for that father figure, I got into two abusive relationships. One that was short-lived at the age of 16, and then finally I got married to the person who abused me as well. And in shaping the relationships that I've been in, was a constant search for that father figure, a constant looking for something in the wrong place. And many times when you don't have that love, or you feel less, what happens is that you accept less. You accept less than you are worthy of, and you don't realize the value that you have within you. So that is how my relationships were shaped in the past.
And that's powerful, as you said as well. I want to bring Juliet in at this point. Juliet, can you tell us your involvement in the project, and how has it impacted you as well?
Well, I was, it was a very small, tight crew that shot this. It was myself as associate producer, our sound guy, Karen Lamessy, and of course the director, editor, Michael Galofre. So it was a very small, tight crew. And what I had the logistics of the production, setting up scheduling and so on. But I also interviewed Kamika and helped write the story as well in the final edit. And I have to say I was like deeply humbled by the experience. Kamika's story was so powerful. It was so touching. She was at all times very open and honest, and I knew what we were doing was hopefully going to touch the lives of people who are still in that situation. Hopefully would motivate people to make a change if they were stuck in that situation, or if they were maybe even inflicting that sort of pain on somebody in a situation like that. You know, that was You know, I really, that was my hope, that, you know, that this film could make a positive impact and at least also create awareness of the situation, because so many people think, oh, why is a woman just staying in a domestic abuse situation? She must like getting in, you know, getting her abuse or whatever it is. It's so much more complicated and difficult than that.
Thank you very much. And Kamika, as you know, looking back at the trailer as well, you mentioned your son, correct?
Yes.
Tell me, as a mother, what made you, or what you know, fueled the decision to exit that relationship, even with having a child as well? Because so many women are suffering in silence, and we hear the excuse that I have children, we have children together, so I'm staying for their sake.
Well, actually, Sheena, I have 7 children,
Oh,
and there was a time where I did not want those children to grow up without their dad.
right.
So that kept me in the relationship. But then they became my prime motivational factors. There was an episode where I nearly died in front of them.
Hmm.
And I said to myself, this can't continue. I want better for them. And if I die, what is going to happen to them? So they became my prime motivation to get out, because I didn't want to see them become that very thing that I was running from.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to women in a similar situation?
Well, first thing I would say to them is that you are valuable and you are worth so much more. Many times as women, we accept less. We believe that we have to compromise and we have to accept less. We have to do much more than we are getting in, to thinking that we are going to get what we need. But I want to say to you that you're a queen, you are worthy. And if you just wait, if you just value and love yourself, that right relationship will come in the right timing.
Agreed. Thank you very much. Juliet, let me ask you something before we get to the end. What are 2 things you want people who view the documentary to walk away with?
One, if you are in a situation, in a domestic abuse situation, that you know that you can get out. There is a life outside of there, and there are people like Kamika, because Kamika also offers counseling, but there are other people who can offer counseling and help, and there is a life out there. And second of all, if you know somebody who is in a domestic abuse situation, do not judge them. Try to help them. Try to give them support as well, because that's what they need. Kamika is an amazingly strong woman, but I know one of the things that helped her were the people who cared enough to like help her through her situation. That made a huge difference. So yeah, don't just be a silent watcher of somebody else's pain. Try and help if you can, in whatever way you can as well.
Yeah, and Kamika, if you as well, what would you like someone to walk away after looking at Breaking the Cycle?
It would be very similar to what Juliet said. You can get out of this. It's not the end of the road. And there are so many persons that can help. You know, at times we think that we are by ourselves when we are victims. And I want to say to you that you are not alone. I have an NGO that helps. It's called Rise Woman, Rediscover Your Strength. And there are many other survivors just like myself that are available to give you that support and to take you, to help you on that road to freedom.
Thank you so much, ladies, as we come to the end of the interview this morning. Thank you for joining us. Again, the name of the documentary is Breaking the Cycle. Kamika McCletchy, I want to say congratulations. Well done, and I'm sure that you're an inspiration to many women. It's going to be aired on TTT tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, on the 23rd. Also to Juliet McCauley, thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to more coming out from both you ladies, and of course anyone else who's willing to share their voice and their experience.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Domestic violence.
Topics that just always get to you. And you know what? I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
You know, that she has gotten to this point where she can recognize what abuse is, because some people really don't know.
Correct.
They're in this relationship and they're being treated a particular way and they accept it as normal because they don't know anything else.
But have you
know?
heard the local phrase, I guess, or saying, you know, if he don't hit me, he don't love me?
I'm fed up of hearing people say that stupidness.
And it amazes me that they equate violence with love.
Yeah.
Well, that's because of trauma oftentimes. Like
Yeah.
she said at the beginning of the interview that she was searching for that father figure.
Right.
Yeah.
So if it is that your parents show you love by hitting you all the time, like, and that's part of the problem that we have in the Caribbean generally, is that, you know, that approach to raising children oftentimes involves hitting and beating, and we think that as a way to discipline them and that kind of thing. And you grow up, if you're abused as a child, you're going to grow up looking at abuse as love
Yeah.
and getting confused by it. So it's all part of the trauma and the cycle that we do have to break. So I look forward to seeing this documentary, and hopefully it can do something to help break the cycle.
Definitely.
And the great thing about it is that she said that the same reason she stayed is the same reason she left.
Exactly.
Her children.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, at one point she thought that, you know, sometimes when you have children and she has 7 children, you're thinking that you can't survive without
Correct.
without the support.
Especially if the man is the breadwinner.
Exactly.
In most
You
cases.
can't survive without the support. But then she recognized that if I stay, she said she almost died in front
Yeah.
of her children. More power to you, Kamika. More power to you. And I'm so happy that they've captured her story in such a way that, you know, we are able to share it. And hopefully, if it's even just one life, I always say, you know,
Correct.
if it's even just one life, it changes. It's worth
Yeah.
it.
And you know, as we on the topic, guys, I just want to remind everybody that you can donate to the Rape Crisis Society to help victims and survivors as well, to get the strength that they need, to get the support that they need as well. And you could do it. You could donate $1, you could donate 100, you could donate 1,000. How much ever you can give, every little bit would definitely count. So I fully support the Rape Crisis Society and the work that they've been doing and helping domestic violence survivors.
And I think even if you can't donate to an NGO, donate your time to somebody who needs you to listen.
Yeah.
Yes.
And don't just, you know, run somebody if they come to you and say, this is happening.
You heard what she said? Who she went to tell about being raped her.
Yeah.
So it shows you something that the cycle, it's so easy for the cycle to continue. And it becomes so potent when you recognize that the people who are in your circle are the people who hurt you the most, you know? But all right, guys, stay with us. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back with so much more on the Now Morning Show.
You are dearer to me than all the stars. So many